Right. Good morning. Welcome to the Discovering Academic Open Source uh, First of a Feather session. And I'm David Perez Suarez. I'm at UCL, University College London. And with me, we have today Claire Dillon from the Curious Community and Richard, which is in a different session. He will come later. We'll talk more about ourselves later. But there's people that need to be admitted in the room. There we go. Okay, so today we're going to have a session of discussions, and we're going to be discussing some questions like measuring open source university and what to consider, how to like the tools and techniques that could be used to produce these metrics to measure this activity, and the ecosystem trends in recognizing and rewarding the impact of open source into academia and other parts of the university. In this session today, we're going to have like 30 minutes kind of session first where Claire is going to give a talk to see the scene, and we will be able to get our minds into it. And then we're going to have like the rest of the time, we're going to be discussing these questions in different tables. We're going to collect all the information in a Google Doc that we will share at the end. And the discussion that you're having locally, we will then collect them all, put it all together. And the idea is to publish a paper with all that information that we collect from you. Some of you...
Sorry, that's not an academic paper that would take 4 years. That's just a paper for us all to learn.
Yeah, like a kind of paper. Exactly. Some of you might have more experience than others, and that's okay. We will want you to participate and interact and provide the questions that you don't know and think how the doubts that you might have. Some people might be too experienced, that they might have that kind of a awareness gap in certain parts that people are completely new of it, and they will maybe pose some questions that are like, oh, okay, we actually have forgotten about that point. So feel free to ask and contribute in any way that you want. Now, Claire, I'm going to leave you to continue with your talk and introduce yourself better.
Yeah, so thank you. My name is Claire Dillon. I'm from the Curious Community, which is, so I'm not in ORC. I'm with the Open Source Program Office community in university. So Curious stands for the Community of University and Research Institution OSPOs, or Open Source Program Offices. And I suppose a note to say that one of the things that we want to do from today is actually bring back the input from the ORC community to the OSPOs worldwide that are looking to enable open source with universities to see if we can actually share that information back with them. So that's one of the goals of why we have proposed this event. And indeed, David is part of the OSPO in UCL, which is a great crossover instance for us. I'm not going to spend too long on this because if most of you were there for Amanda's talk today, so you know a lot of this, but I just wanted to say that in the context of how this is how we kind of pitch the importance of open source to academic leaders and management in terms of trying to help them understand, because they often don't understand, in as much as they don't understand maybe that better software gives better research, they don't understand how better or open source may actually provide better research or benefits for the university. So we remind them that open source is everywhere, and that not only is it available for free and distributable and to be modified and all the great things about open source, but that there's a huge amount of VC interest now in open source companies. And actually there are reports out there to say that VC investments are growing faster in the open source community for commercial open source companies than it is even in the proprietary side. So we want to remind universities that this isn't divorced from opportunities to commercialize research outputs. We want to talk about the fact that it's important for open research alongside data, alongside open access. Open source software is critical these days. We remind them about the idea that actually it has great economic impact in the ability for open source software to be taken and reused, particularly maybe by indigenous companies that might be in your environment or anyone who might be working near you, that it's of a great benefit to be able to take IP and build on top of it, and that's a fantastic lever for economies. And then we talk about the social impact and how it relates to the UN's Sustainable Development Goals, and how we know that that is a priority for them to make every piece of technology that's being built to help solve the world's hardest problems. They say that should be open source so the greatest number of people have access to it. One of the things we also talk about in Curious when we're talking to the open source communities is sometimes the difference about academic open source, perhaps, than people's perception in the open source community, because there are a lot of things that are actually slightly different. So, for example, when you talk to folks that are involved in open source program offices in commercial entities, they, for example, may not be understanding the need for open source software to deliver open research goals, as opposed to, for example, being commercial goals or something like that. The other thing that they sometimes don't get is that the context within universities and academic institutions is different. So when you talk to open source program offices in corporate world, they don't understand that you can't just tell researchers what to do. That's not often going to work. You have to, it's not like you don't just do a dictate from the top and then everyone follows line. So sometimes we have to help them understand the contextual differences like that. And indeed, that the profiles of people involved in software and research are sometimes completely different than, for example, the corporate world. They may not be software developers themselves. They may be just interested in law or humanities or something else. Software is not their primary competency. And we shouldn't mean that it has to be. We have to make it easier for them to do open source software without assuming that they know everything about Kubernetes and GitHub and all the rest of it. So these are just some of the things I thought I'd throw in here because it talks to the context when we're trying to communicate about this in the general sense. This is the kind of things we want to highlight. As I mentioned, I'm from Curious, and we were set up in 2023. We are currently a group of over 50 individuals from about 25 institutions worldwide. The majority are in the US. There are 6 in Europe, including UCL. It's basically just a center of competence, very much indeed following the RSC model in terms of looking at people who are funded and dedicated in a university to help open source enablement within that institution. Just to say that the goals are often open source excellence, research impact in particular, so helping the translation of open source research outputs into commercial entities, and also social impact in that regard. Skills and education, so we talk a lot about how do we actually embed open source within the curricula, and operations in terms of dealing with the OSPO operations itself, and outreach to third-party communities. And you'll see one of the themes we're asking you to consider today is how do folks who are building open source research software, how do they interact with maybe third-party communities or indeed the open source foundations and things like that. There's more information on all of this at this DOI link, and I think we can share the slides anyway, so we'll share those slides for people to have them. In terms of our goals, I won't go into these. We're just providing a space for people to come together to learn about this trend in OSPOs and to partner and collaborate and promote awareness. These are some of the resources we have. We have some patterns. So folks are interested in this. A lot of our members are perhaps not in formal OSPO organizations, but they may be doing OSPO-like activities. So there's a pattern library there that we're starting to build up, which is just telling people how they're running activities in OSPOs. We do some deep dive calls with experts in this area, and we have a list of resources that we've collated from things that our members have said were useful, which is generally the criteria for getting on there. There are a lot of RSE resources in there and resources, but we try to pull together everything that they think is useful, so they might be useful to you. So that's what we have about Curious, and I think we're going to just check Slido now to see if anyone has any questions. If we may.
Yes, I don't know where the Slido is.
Do you know word on Slido?
We have no question.
No question. Well,
then I think we're moving into
to the next session. Yeah,
introductions. So we wanted to give you what time. Let's do a time check.
it's a quarter past.
Quarter past, we're right on time. But we wanted to let you all know each other. I don't know if everyone knows everyone at the table, but we thought we would give maybe 10 minutes for you all to just introduce yourselves to each other, and maybe talk about 2 questions which we were talking about, maybe why you're here, maybe your experience with open source software, just to get a sense around the table as to, what you're looking to get out of today. So if you can maybe take 10 minutes to do that now.
Yep.
For those of you online, I think we might be thinking about putting people into a breakout session so that you can also do that in your online context. So we will look to do that while we're taking these next 10 minutes. Well, pause for 10 minutes, introduce yourselves around the table, and we'll be back in that time.
And the people who are in the end, if you want to sit on a table, there's space here in the front, there on the edge. So feel free to join the table.
Thank you, everyone. I hope you all know each other, and I hope you all had a really nice chat. That's really cool. None of you recognize me because I wasn't here at the beginning, and I'm very sorry.
Seconds.
I'm Richard Latower. I'm one of the co-people, and I help run Curious as well. So you may be wondering, why did I stop you talking? It's just so I can give you more instructions so you can talk further and not listen to me. So next up, do you want to do full instructions for all of us?
Yes.
Oh, we should do that. Okay. In that case, I should talk more. I'm Richard.
Oh, no, just for you. No.
Just for me.
No,
You did
you can go ahead. We did the intro. We did
No.
the intro. I'm just trying to get on
I
to
said
the
everything.
slide.
Next slide.
Not working.
Hello. We're professionals.
There.
Go
Go on,
right.
there you go.
So these are the questions that we'd like you to talk about at your tables. You'll notice there are 6 questions. Why are there 6? We don't want you to have 5 minutes each. We want you to have 20 minutes each, and we want you to choose 3 of them at your table. So you'll switch. You don't have to talk about them all, and you shouldn't. Choose the ones that look best to you. We need Steph to go away.
Yeah, no.
Sorry,
okay.
sorry.
So first off is open source. I'm just going to read through them briefly. Open source, what to measure, which is what to consider when you're measuring open source in your university. And that depends upon wherever you are as well, whether you're an RSE or a leader of policy or something, what do you have to consider? Then techniques, how do you do that? Benefits and drawbacks, why would you, and what's the problem with doing so? If I don't commit enough, am I going to get fired, et cetera, et cetera. The rewards, if I commit more, will I get rehired? That'd be great. Talk about that. And then the communities, how do you engage with third-party communities? It doesn't just mean communities of people working on a specific project, but also large communities like RSE. So that'd be really great as well to talk about. And the final one is challenges for research open source software. Why is it harder to build community in research as opposed to just in open source? If we all add AI on the end, will it be easier? So those are the 6 questions at your table. Choose 3 of them. I hope that's not too combative a process. And the main thing is that we want you to take notes. We think that would be really, really great. So we have a QR code that goes to a Google Doc, which should work for this many people. There are a lot of you, and we thank you for that. That link also goes to the Google Doc. In the Google Doc, we have all the 6 questions, and then we have tables, and we have table numbers so you don't write all over each other's things. Really quickly, just like in kindergarten, it's going to be 1, 2 in the back, 3 right here, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the organizing table. You guys do what you want to do. So those are tables, and then if you're online, it should say online table. Should be pretty easy. So if you can write notes there. Why would you write notes? It's just a waste of time and you should be listening to people. Yes, I agree with you. However, what we're hoping to do is take those notes afterwards and hopefully turn it into a nice paper that we can put on Zenodo or maybe somewhere else. We just did this already. I did this in February at the research conference in Christchurch in New Zealand, where I live. And we just did it again with another document that we produced upstairs on 10 simple rules for helping your code last longer, where we had like 30 authors. We just made a Google Doc and put everything together. And it works really, really well. So the better notes you take, the more likely we'll be able to share them. And people outside of this room can also get benefits. And you can get benefits from being on a paper or something. So that's it. That's where we are. Does anyone have any questions? No. You all remember your number. Okay. Choose one of the 3 to begin. Don't do all of them to begin. So you have 20 minutes to do one of these at first. Sound good? Be gone.
Good. Hammer.
All of you are probably hungry. I'm hungry, so we're going to try to get out of here 5 minutes early. We're not going to do a report out from each table. I'm not sure that's necessary. We do have this amazing document that you've worked on. It's almost 20 pages, which is awesome. Table 7, this is hard. I saw that. Yes, it is. Thank you all for bearing through and having great conversations about this. I was looking at the notes, and it's amazing. Those who put their names at the bottom, that's really, really cool. What we're going to do is work on it. We'll edit it, write it up, and then share it. You shouldn't have to do much more. Co-authors are the best. And ideally, we'll push it out through the normal RSE community. So if you want to have your name, it's not there yet, you can email us and we will add it to it. But otherwise, thank you all so much. We hope you learned some things and that you had a really nice birds of a feather. I'm never going to do this again. All right.